Hello, everyone, and welcome to Best of Six, the weekly podcast where we talk about podcasts. I'm kidding. We talk about games.
Smash Bros.
And Smash Bros.
Mostly
Occasionally.
Smash Bros.
And
like every other week.
And life.
Poor Mauricio.
What happened to the prior episode, Jake?
I don't know what happened. Somehow, last week's episode, the cursed episode, was lost to time.
You were there live. You're our favorite person.
Yep. If you saw it live, that was your only chance.
Are you at least gonna show it to Aaron?
If you recorded the stream, you should probably lose your hard drive. And anyway,
if you recorded the stream and don't lose your hard drive, we're sending assassins after you.
Your hard drive, not you. We don't.
Ega assassins. They'll kill you with a banana.
No, we don't kill people.
I get it.
Well, bananas do.
Yeah, bananas do. Okay. So
that new one in Smash.
Joining me, as always, is Dan, Julian, and Mitch. Short 2 of the 6, but we're gonna make it work anyway. So the Game Awards happened last week. If you caught our live stream last week, which may or may not have happened, we talked about the Game Awards as they occurred.
You can watch our live reaction to Joker and Smash on Jake's channel.
That you can do. So
great.
that is available. Thanks for the host, DJ Knight.
No problem.
So, Game of the Year was won by God of War. The only reason I say that first without building up any suspense is because I realized I already had it scrolled onto the screen. So, we'll talk about that first. Red Dead didn't win.
Yeah, no, I thought that the Game Awards were a glorified Red Dead Redemption 2 advertisement, and
well, they were.
And they did. Hey, it didn't win 2 of the categories that it was in that we thought it had it.
I predicted it would only not win one of the categories that it was in.
Yeah, and I think it didn't win 3. So, but 2 that were like really surprising, including Game of the Year and Best Art Direction, I think.
It won Best Music.
Over didn't win Art Direction.
Yeah, it won Best Music. Still strange. That's still strange to me, but I guess I don't know a ton about its soundtrack. It's just surprising is all.
To those who are confused what we're talking about, prior to this award, Red Dead Redemption was winning awards that it didn't really deserve. Like, it won Best Music.
Yeah.
The music in Red Dead is actually good. I wouldn't know.
The game just came out. People did not have enough time to properly judge it.
We're calling it Oscar bait.
Yeah.
It was the Oscar bait of games for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It came out.
Dark Souls of Oscars.
Yeah, it came out just in time to, make it into the awards, and it was one of the most anticipated releases of the year and delivered on a lot of that anticipation. So, not too surprising that it was at the top of everyone's minds during voting for this.
It did not win Best Indie Game.
Gee. No, it didn't.
nominated?
Would you like to talk about... No, it was not.
No, it wasn't.
That would be some, rigged... Yeah, Rockstar Games is an independent developer.
And they keep putting Destiny 2 in this show when it has not deserved it.
I do want to talk about a couple of things.
Well, you want to talk about the winner of Best Indie Game since you brought it up.
That was mostly as a joke. I mean, Celeste won, not a huge surprise. It was the only indie game that was also nominated for Game of the Year. It's an amazing game. We've talked about it, I feel like, a lot on the podcast.
We've definitely talked about Celeste. If you want to hear more about Celeste, go back to our How to Make Mario Better episode.
And I will live stream my playthrough at some point, whenever I buy that game.
Looking forward to it.
There is one thing that I want to point out that confused the hell out of me. It also confused the hell out of everyone else. They had a pre-show from 7:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. They just did a bunch of awards at the pre-show.
They might have done equally as many awards in the pre-show as they did for the rest of the 3-hour show.
There was a countdown clock indicating that the show hadn't started as they were rifling off these winners for all these awards. I was
For some big ones too.
I was
trying to make it more like a real award show.
Oh shit! Rome's here.
Oh, esport.
Oh, sorry.
And joining me as always is Lerone.
Trying to be like the Grammys or Oscars or whatever.
Do they do that?
Yeah, it's just an advertisement. You know?
Grammys definitely do that because there's a lot of awards, but the big stuff are definitely they have people come out and present for it. That was weird. But
Yeah.
they do run through a lot of awards early on.
Wasn't like all the esports awards pretty much handled before the start of the show?
Yeah, most of them.
They probably did consider those as important.
I think.
Yeah,
they
those
had a-
those were like less of a big deal. I was more surprised. Didn't they rattle off best music?
No, they did like best.
Didn't they do like best
action game.
RPG?
Oh yeah, they did best
Best
RPG.
And
Which
Monster
what?
Hunter, which is not really an RPG, won that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was weird. I forgot about that. Yeah,
The
best
Game Awards.
role-playing game won by Monster Hunter World, which arguably didn't belong in the category to begin with.
Were interesting.
I mean, if I had an issue, it was that Todd Howard wasn't there to answer for his
Mitch.
crimes with Skyrim and her people.
This is why the last episode was cursed.
I
No, that's
feel like Todd Howard was supposed to be there, and then all the Fallout 76 stuff happened, and then he wasn't. And funny enough, the old developers for New Vegas and the original
Yeah.
Fallout games were there showing off their spiritual Fallout sequel that takes place in space.
Type.
Yeah, that looks so good.
That looks a lot
I'm
better than
So
Fallout.
hyped for that.
Like, they just Fallout, or Bethesda just made Fallout 76, and then the team behind arguably the best 3D Fallout game was just like, hey, we're gonna make another game. Like Bethesda just released this dumpster fire, but don't worry, Fallout fans, there's hope.
Is there still hope for Starfield?
Yes, but
Is it multiplayer?
no, it's.
Then there's
We
hope.
don't really know.
Yeah, I don't think we know
We're,
anything
we're
about the-
assuming it's gonna be like Fallout and Skyrim in space. But
Then there's
like,
hope.
we don't know.
Right.
All in all, the gist of the Game Awards is that it's kind of like a condensed E3 light, and then there's some awards too.
Yeah.
Do you watch it for the announcements?
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, it should definitely be about a third of the length that it is, but
I
As
mean,
far as for me personally, I was super hyped while the Smash announcement was happening, like the Joker reveal. But
I really thought that was like Persona 5 for Switch or something.
yep.
but I would have rather had a lot of things.
Like an award show.
No, I would have I knew Nintendo was gonna have an announcement, and I would have rather had their big announcement be a lot of different things other than
You're like, oh, what
DLC for
next
Smash.
big game should we be looking out for? Because I think they went through their big roster.
I was surprised there
Yeah.
was no Prime 4 news.
That's
Yeah,
what I wanted.
Prime 4, Pokemon RPG. Come on, what's
Bayonetta
the?
3.
Those are the stuff
Sure.
I wanted, and then we got a DLC character for a game I love and like was super.
I mean, that it was a hype announcement, but
yeah, it was a hype announcement, but in retrospect, I wish they had done something more
yeah, I mean,
about a new game.
I'm sort of surprised that they didn't. Like, you would think they would want as much hype for the Switch as possible going into the holiday season, so more people buy Switches, even if it's an anticipation for future games.
I mean, Smash is the big seller for
And
the
it-
Switch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Smash is the big seller,
Smash-
but
Smash probably released an hour after that trailer, or
released
maybe
15
20 minutes or something.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah,
it
so-
released 15 minutes after the show ended.
They wanted to ride the Smash hype, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it makes sense. I just would have wanted something else.
Yeah.
It made sense. I was super excited while it was happening, but looking back on it, I was like, it would have been way cooler. Prime 4.
See, Prime 4 would have hyped me up less, probably because I don't have as much of a connection to it.
I still need to play that trilogy, and I own that. I've owned that for years. I just never played it.
Same.
Somebody make me play it and stream it or something.
Yeah, no,
Metroid
Pre-
Prime is a good game. The first one, I
Metroid
haven't
Prime-
played 2 and 3 yet.
Okay, so I am the only person I've ever met with this opinion, but 2 is my favorite.
I hear.
Like everyone else is like 2's the worst game in the series.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Yeah, that's all I hear.
what?
I love 2. I hate 3, or I don't hate 3. 3 is my least favorite.
I actually usually hear 1 best, 2 second, 3 worst.
I hear 132.
Three,
I don't know. I
Ratio
played them
works.
like 4 years ago. I don't remember that much. They were
three is
decent.
really, really cool, and would probably be higher on my list if it weren't for the fact that the loading screens in that game are really, really, really long. It would be like 5 or 10, like more than 5 minutes of me sitting in front of a door waiting for it to open.
What?
And at the time, I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know that that was loading. I thought that the doors were just like glitched and didn't know you were close to them. And then I found out later, oh, the room's loading and that's why it's not open. But it was just really frustrating because I would just be like, because you could be in like a firefight and like losing and trying to get into the next room to escape, and then it's just, oh, we're loading. You're dead. Good job.
5 minutes. What the fuck?
Anyway, that was a bit of a tangent. I'm sorry.
I mean,
What
it's
are we
okay.
going to tangent into next? What's the next topic?
We're gonna tangent into the winner for the best fighting game, which is Dragon Ball Fighter Z, which brings me perfectly into our next topic, Street Fighter V.
Oh,
That
Well,
was a hell of a transition.
Yeah.
That was an esport of a transition.
I think hell's.
I think hell's good.
hell's fine.
The F-
Esport.
The FCC allows it.
Esport.
Ken's back throw in Smash 4 is called Hell Wheel. Or just his back throw in general.
Esport.
If you can say it on the radio, you can say it on this podcast. Street Fighter V starting December 11th, which is 2 days ago if you guys do math. We'll start displaying in-game ads, which means it is now displaying in-game ads.
Capcom is scum.
You can turn the promos off, but you will miss certain content if you do.
This would be fine if this was a free-to-play game, but it isn't.
Whew.
Remember how
Nice $60
Street
game.
Fighter V
Yeah.
has an entire lifespan full of controversy? Remember how Capcom just keeps making it worse?
Yeah.
Here we
Yeah.
are, another installment.
Yes. So
This is how you do it. Start slow. And then in 6 months, everyone's going to be defending it. They're just ads. It's not even like commercials. They're just little ads on my boxing gloves and TV in the background. It's fine.
yeah.
Stop complaining.
I will say
And then
that
6 months later, they'll come up with something worse.
exactly.
And soon enough, there's going to be $60 phone games on your console.
I will say that the ads don't look that bad, but this is just a slippery slope.
Well, also I mean the ads look like okay right now because there's only one ad, which has been made to look okay.
Mm-hmm.
Though I think it's a little over the top having everyone's boxing gloves have ads on them, but who am I to judge? Oh, could you imagine if there's like animated ads on their boxing gloves? That could be like legitimately annoying.
Okay, there's no way they're gonna do that.
Wait 6 months.
Cool if like it was only for like tournament players who are good and they're actually sponsored by these people. Like they already walk into the venue wearing their jackets and crap. So
That
why
might
not why not
actually-
make them a
Yeah, that would be neat. Too bad that's not what this is.
Yeah, it's
They
not
would
what this
just-
is at all.
If they did that, they just sell them. Buy your
Yeah.
favorite player's skin.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I
Instead,
would not be upset with that, like at all.
yeah, no, I think everyone would be fine with that.
So do you know like the full like scenario with the ads? Like,
Yeah,
you
okay,
can
well,
turn-
so you can turn them off, but you'll lose extra fight money and access to sponsored material like costumes.
exactly. So there's like it's like negative reinforcement to turn the ads on.
Yeah, you literally like unlock stuff faster and unlock some stuff that isn't available to people who turn their ads off. That's pretty messed up for somebody who, when you buy a game. Like it'd be one thing if it just gave you some like a small bonus or whatever like in money to like make it so you had to grind like slightly less. I'm talking like 5%. But like actually locking content in the game behind these ads, that's a bit much.
I kind of disagree with you. I think if you're paying $60 to play a game, you shouldn't pay additional significant additional resources to unlock content.
I mean, I think there's a difference.
I mean,
between
yeah,
the
I'm saying it shouldn't be there at all. I'm just saying that Capcom made it even worse than they had to. Or well, you know what I mean.
I'm saying there's a difference between unlocking content in a game that you paid for and paying for more content and being encouraged to do so.
Through ads.
Yeah,
no,
it all
you're
comes back to the
definitely-
microtransaction.
Also, ads are on by default,
Right.
which not a fan of that either. But you know,
Look at,
if I was saying if I stream this game with the ads, does Capcom pay me?
I don't think so.
Do I get extra fight money and extra sponsored material
for advertising.
for literally advertising? This is just this doesn't belong in a video game.
So I'm scared for the Resident Evil 2 remake.
Could you imagine like ads in Resident Evil? Like there's like a busted TV with like
There's like an ad on a zombie.
yeah, like Ritz crackers T-shirts and like
Right.
Yeah, just wait until like
One
Pepsi
of the
sponsorships and
one
stuff
of the
start happening.
zombies is just Pepsi Man.
it's
Brought back from the dead.
it's gonna be like Adam Sandler movies. That's exactly what the video game space is gonna turn into. Just like peppered with product placement. Like, can you imagine Ryu like at the beginning of a fight, or like in the middle of a fight, like his resting animation, he pulls out a Pepsi, opens it, and drinks it.
It's like his
That's
tone.
like animation.
Yeah, no, I mean like in his cycle animation, in his resting stance, he pulls out a. Oh God, that's the future.
I hope.
So you're laughing, but I'm like
Capcom
not.
taking one step forward with Mega Man 11 and Resident Evil 2 remake, but 2 steps back with this ad stuff.
Yeah. Now Nintendo did this kind of in Mario Kart where they put in an ad, but they just sort of they gave you the Mercedes cart that they just kind of just gave it away for free.
See, I'm kind of okay with that.
Yeah, that didn't seem that bad. Like they just gave you extra content
Yeah.
and you
Yeah,
don't have to use it.
that's the way to do an ad in a game. In a
Yep.
game you pay for
Yep, I agree.
is like, and don't make it like more powerful than other stuff. So you're not. You can make it comparable in power level.
Yeah, honestly, the Mercedes cart sucks. So like, there's like not a reason to use it anyway.
That's cool.
Boy, I feel like buying a Mercedes right now for no particular reason.
Yeah, speaking of which, this week's episode is sponsored by Mercedes. Mercedes. Who else does Mercedes own?
I have no
I know they own cars.
Well, for our pleb viewers
a lot of
who
good ones that you can buy.
who want cheaper cars, Mercedes owns some other brands, so go to those. Mercedes also makes commercial vehicles, like the Sprinter. So go get yourself a Sprinter. Anyway, speaking of Street Fighter 5, 5 ends with a V. V is a letter in the alphabet, and so is E. Epic Games has launched a store.
5 doesn't even end with the letter B.
It is the letter.
It's the letter V, yeah.
Sometimes, but not recently.
It says Street Fighter 5 ends with the letter V, which it does.
Oh,
Like,
you win this round, Jake.
That was a perfect transition.
Getting away with
That-
it.
I have to give it to him. That was a perfect transition. I hate it, but it's true.
Yeah, so Epic Games kind of, I don't know if this was a surprise to anyone else, or they just like launched a Steam competitor, but they did that.
And much like Origin, people will hate it until it's kind of quality, and then no one will talk about it ever again.
So there's already some exclusives on it. I know.
This Hades game looks sick.
Yeah,
Actually, you can
Oh,
buy
yeah.
that on Epic Game.
Yeah, early access.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, never mind. You can't
Yeah.
buy it. You can pay for the beta.
Right.
yep. Yeah, the Hades game does look neat. It's definitely a game I'll never play, but I'll be interested to see some gameplay and or hear about it.
Yeah, Hades is kind of neat. If I'd ever played a game like that, but I've never played a game like
If
that.
I had like,
know it-
it's the kind of, I would play it if I like had more time and more hands.
If I had a gaming PC, I might sign up for the early access.
I would probably just like get Diablo for the Switch before I would get Hades.
I mean, Hades does not seem like a game that would be very system intensive. I'm sure you'd be able to play it on.
I mean, you could play Bastion
Almost
on a toaster,
anything.
so you could probably play Hades on a toaster as well.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on if they've optimized. Let's see. The recommended specs is a dual core. Their minimum requirements for a graphics card is that you have a gig of VRAM. So if you can't meet that requirement, then
I can probably play it. Okay.
you're on like a 2010 toaster. I'm mostly joking, but
It's still early access. I don't want to.
10 gigabytes. This is weird. Like minimum requirements: 10 gigabytes of available space. Recommended 16 gigabytes. How does that work? Like, unless this game's got some like massive save files, what does it care if you have? Anyway, that is getting sidetracked. So yeah, they launched this store, and the only thing that I think is worth mentioning about the store that's interesting is that it offers a much better developer cut than Steam does.
Yep.
I think the best of any notable game store currently.
Which is?
I mean, their cut. I'm speaking off the top of my head right now. I think it's 85%.
85.
Yeah.
Hey, they only take.
Yeah, I'll double
to bully
check
Steam.
that. Epic Games Store cut.
That's 30% isn't even a Steam thing. That's just everywhere. You want to be on my store? We get 30.
I mean, Steam doesn't even follow that. They say that.
I'm sorry.
The actual deal is
Before we,
21
I was wrong. It's 88% to developers.
Wow.
Even better.
It's funny seeing people parrot that number, saying like, you know, how great it is for the consumer, and people are like, what?
I mean, competition is good for the consumer. So.
Always, yes.
It's always good.
But that specific instance is like having a competitor to Steam is good. Having that is good for the developer. The
Also, there's
customer does not care.
well, that kind of thing can trickle down a bit. But anyway, another interesting thing about this is because so Steam does a 30% cut, right? But okay, so Unreal Engine 4, there's a royalty fee for games that sell at volume, which is 5%. But if you put your game on the Epic Game Store, they waive the royalties on Unreal Engine 4 games.
Oh shit.
So it would what would have been I think it's just if you sell it on like the copies you sell on their store don't pay royalties. The copies you sell on Steam still do.
Okay.
They're making moves.
So they make money on Unreal Engine games either way. But that's pretty compelling because that means you only get a 65% cut on Unreal Engine 4 games on Steam, but an 88% cut on Epic Game Store. So that's really good incentives for developers to put their games on here, especially if you do Unreal Engine. Like that's a significant amount of profit. That's over 20% gained. So it'll be interesting. And the layout and stuff of the store is attractive. Things look good.
I like how in the promo for the Unreal Engine on the Epic Games Store, the Final Fantasy VII Remake is one of the games. If it's ever coming out. I guess it'll come out after Kingdom Hearts. This is tangent.
No, it's good.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know, this is cool. It's kind of funny. It just basically looks like the Oculus store for those who are familiar with it, because I'm pretty sure they made it in collaboration with Oculus. So they might have taken some lessons learned from helping them build that store out to this store. Which I know is they actually have some mod kits down here for some VR games, so that's kind of interesting. Anyway, speaking of Epic Games, Fortnite's $1 million Winter Royale tournament has been a little bit of a mess. They're only in the qualifiers right now, but in the new season, they just very recently added 2 very game impacting mechanics, including planes, which front mounted planes with front mounted machine guns, transport teammates, etc.
Fortnite stuff.
Yeah, but there's also some exploits with them that people have found that allow you to fly longer and other stuff, so the balance is actually really bad. And there's a lot of weapons that can't actually hit planes that are high enough, like their range, like on the guns, like the bullet doesn't go all the way. So if you fly at a high enough altitude and use the exploit, you can camp like in the sky. That's not good.
Well, it's not its game.
But that's not the worst, the most game-breaking addition they've added to the game lately. They've also added the Infinity Blade, which went live just this week. There's one Infinity Blade on the map, and it grants the player who wields it an insane advantage, including higher health, higher armor, higher recharge for kills, the ability to leap into the air and do massive damage, and slice through structures like butter.
Oh.
Which that last part is especially problematic, apparently, in competitive
the meta.
Fortnite. It's the
Building is the meta.
yeah. So
Maybe they didn't like that.
apparently, people who are it's sort of similar in power to the Thanos Infinity Gauntlet earlier this year. But the Infinity Blade is available in standard mode, where the Infinity Gauntlet wasn't. So that means it's fair game for the Winter Royale tournament.
Why did Epic think that was a good idea to use competitive?
Maybe they don't like the building meta.
Yep. So Epic has responded to this, and they're gonna patch both planes and the Infinity Blade out of standard mode in Fortnite for the remainder of the tournament. And they said they may scrap all of the competition so far. So
Yikes!
Fortnite tournaments are always a dumpster fire.
You've actually seen one? I've never seen a Fortnite.
I mean, they're ran poorly.
Oh.
yeah, and there's $1 million prize pool in this tournament. So imagine you enter, you being one of the best players in the world. You enter in this Fortnite $1 million tournament, and you get cheesed by an Infinity Blade, like round one. That's not good. But that is all we have for news this week, guys. We're going to go into our main topic of the week, which is Book Club But for Games, title pending. So
We should pick a title already.
Yeah, you thief.
Keep that title. What? No, keep it.
But we're thieves.
title pending is part of the title. So we played a different kind of game this week. We played, oh man, I'm gonna get the name wrong if I don't look at
Friday
it.
the 13th Killer Puzzle.
Friday the 13th Killer Puzzle, a mobile game, which is also available on non-mobile platforms. But I think all of us who played it on a.
When
A
he
phone.
says we,
Because I wanted to
he
get a
does not mean the Wii. He means the royal Wii, as in he played it himself, and so did Dan. No one else did.
I got
And Mauricio
Wait,
and
did you play?
Julian.
I played once.
So everyone here but Mitch.
In class.
Actually, everyone in the whole podcast but Mitch. So
The only time I could bring myself to play was in class.
Yeah, I had to like force myself to play it.
I mean, there was just like Thanksgiving and Smash and being lazy.
This was
Or a lot
before
of things.
Smash.
A lot of things in the way.
You know, I didn't finish the game. By,
yeah, I definitely did not finish.
Once
No.
Smash came out, there's no way I
Oh,
was
no
touching
one
this.
beat it. Okay, I don't feel as bad.
Yeah, we're like 13.
Yeah,
places.
this game's really long. We're not.
Yeah, okay, good.
It's a mobile game meant to be played over like slowly over the course of months, not.
so, yeah, I mean, the game's pretty interesting because I'm not entirely sure who it's for.
It's probably for me.
So,
An
you
odd number now.
probably, if you're watching this and you like grew up with Miniclip and Congregate and all that, you've probably played a game very similar to this before.
Yeah.
The concept of the game is you can move in like 4 directions and you slide until you hit an obstacle. So like you input up and then your character slides up until you hit an obstacle. And in this game you need to hit a certain number of checkpoints and you need to hit one checkpoint last. And that's They'll throw one little extra mechanic at you during each world, and that's the game. The interesting part of the game is the how do I describe this?
What? Sorry.
The mask they put on top of that shell. So that's the shell of the game. Oh, it's for the Switch.
It is
on the Switch.
Yeah, you can get it on the Switch, Google Play, App Store, Steam.
By
the way, this is made by the creators of Plants vs Zombies. Did not realize that.
Really?
Hmm.
Well, Plants
So-
vs Zombies is a good game. No wonder this is kind of decent. Okay.
So yeah, you're Freddy Krueger, and the thing you got to do is slide
That's
into
Jason.
not Freddy Krueger. What's
Jason.
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 Voorhees?
Jason Voorhees.
Jason Voorhees. You're Jason Voorhees, and you gotta slide into people to kill them.
Slide into those children.
Yeah, it's
They're
it's pretty-
counselors.
It's not bad.
Can we talk about how like the game called like grown men like boys? Like those people had beards and they were like Final Boy. And
I got Final Guy a lot. I
I
got Final Douche a couple times, and that was hilarious.
Yeah, there's also Final Girl.
I got like
Yeah.
Final Chad and Final Stacy a couple times.
Oh no. No.
Yep, no, I got that.
I don't think I ever got that, or at least I didn't notice.
I got Final Douche, Final Chad, Final Stacy, Final
So you're an
Guy,
incel?
Final Girl, Final Boy, all that good stuff. Like the gameplay itself is fine. It's not easy.
Yeah, no,
Huh?
I'm stuck.
How far did you get?
Like chapter 4.
Because I just kind of started flicking and it was working.
Are you what chapter are you on?
4?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I made it to chapter 4.
Oh, okay.
I think we all made it to about the same spot.
And it's, I just don't know who's gonna go to the App Store and get this game. It's incredibly violent, but like if you're watching the stream or like the VOD and you have footage in front of you, you could see it's incredibly violent. Like
Did
every
anyone-
single time you get a kill, you get this gruesome cutscene where you like decapitate them or like throw them. And the thing that I really liked about the game that I appreciated was the unlockable weapons that would give you different animations.
Oh, that's all that did? Just different animations? Did that do anything else?
No,
Okay.
Yeah.
it just gave you different kill animations.
Yeah, which you can see on a loop if you're watching the stream.
There were some good ones. I would always like tune in and watch.
I overall liked the game. Dan, have you played Heart Gold, right?
Heart Gold?
Yeah.
That is one of the only Pokemon games that I've never played.
The sliding puzzle is in like a bunch of RPGs.
Yeah, I was about to say it reminded me of the Ice Path in Heart
Yeah.
Gold, where you have to go
Yeah.
through
For the gym?
no, for the Ice Path before you go to Blackthorn City in Johto.
Yeah, no, this is like a really common trope. It appears on. It's in like.
Yeah.
It was in old school RuneScape.
And it's usually done in an ice level.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This is not ice. There's no canonical reason why you need to run into a straight line until you hit an obstacle.
Hey, there is the ice levels.
There is an ice world, but yeah, I just don't get this game. Like, there's some fundamental thing. Like, I would have never gone out of my way to get this game,
No chance.
I mean, I'm biased against mobile games, so
Same.
and I
But-
don't know who would.
Yeah. We were kind of discussing a little bit before the show. Like, we don't know who this game is for,
and
or
I
like
said,
who it's supposed to appeal to.
I feel like if you're a fan of Friday the 13th and you just so happen to browse the mobile game store. and
All
you
right,
see
here's
it,
the
you
thing.
might download it.
What does fans of Friday the 13th mean to you?
Yeah,
Because
I don't know. Maybe just fans of horror movies, maybe.
Maybe.
So you're gonna play this puzzle game on your phone.
Yeah, it's a puzzle game.
yeah, it's kind of like the Frozen like all the Candy Crush spin-offs. Like there's one for like every Disney franchise ever made. There's like a. Apparently it works. I
It's
guess.
just stealing a
But, like-
successful model and getting what you can.
That like even makes more sense to me because like Candy Crush is like a person who likes Candy Crush I could see also liking Frozen. I don't see the fans of Friday the 13th being puzzle game enthusiasts. Like,
To be fair, I don't think this game is meant for puzzle game enthusiasts. At least that's my impression. Because the
Yeah.
difficulty curve is way too slow.
yeah.
Like this
it-
game takes way too long to
Does
get
it get hard?
remotely difficult.
takes a long time to get hard.
Like there was only a couple of levels that like hurt me a little, like took me a little bit of time in part 3.
Right.
Parts 1 and 2 were like
Yeah.
a
One and two
breeze.
is, like, really
Yeah, I
easy.
feel like part 3, there's a path they try to want you to take that's wrong, and then you just take the other one. And that's the level.
That'll happen.
Yeah, that'll
Yeah, it
happen.
happens a lot.
And
Some that
that's
requires
like
some like a little bit of geometric thinking, but and like the ones where like you have a limited number of moves, some of those took a tiny bit of time, but those are also like supposed to be the final boss levels. So
I like the rewind system.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh, really?
Well, so the rewind system in and of itself was fine. The issue
resetting.
was that to restart a level, you needed to rewind once to get the button to restart.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was whack. I have no idea why. Well, I actually did think about it a little, and I think I know why they did it. And it was to stop people from
Inadvertent tab.
inadvertently hitting reset. But that's what dialogue boxes are for. Yes, no's. But I guess then you have to click. But then you have to click twice anyway. So honestly, I guess it's not the worst solution to the problem. Though the alternative is to do what every other game of this genre does and put the reset button on the opposite side of the screen that you would never touch. But
Yeah.
what do I know? I'm not a mobile game developer.
Did you guys
So.
ever use the hint option?
Nope.
I
No.
did not once use the hint out.
Is it? Did you use it? Is it? Does it? What does it do?
So, if you click your mom in the top left-hand corner, she
Who's a
she
severed
asks-
head, by the way. She talks to you.
Yeah, she talks to you and she's like, "Hey, if you view an ad from one of our sponsors, I'll help you out."
That sounds about right.
So yeah, if you watch an ad, she'll like give you a hint, or you have an option to like skip the level or something. I never skipped the level, but I did use the hint sometimes. So
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that's their. Which, by the way, speaking of ads, this is sort of has nothing to do with it, but since I've been on the Friday the 13th, like their own website, I've blocked 127 ads. So that gives you an idea of what these guys are all about. There's a few forced ads in the game, right? If I recall correctly, or the game just
Yeah.
kind of forced an
Oh,
ad
yeah.
upon you.
That's standard free to play.
Yeah.
The only ads I got on desktop were ads to buy loot boxes.
I got
No,
those.
I definitely got some like ads for random apps.
Didn't get any of those. So I guess the desktop version is the definitive better version.
That wouldn't surprise me. Does the Switch is the Switch version free or does the Switch version cost money?
Oh, they cost money.
Because maybe the Switch version doesn't have
Yeah, it
all
doesn't
the
have-
all the ads and the microtransactions and stuff. I have to enter my date of birth. I was born on 11/11/11.
9/11, 18.
I was born in 1911.
Damn, you
It's
both-
$20 on the Switch. Well, now, would you pay
Ooh,
$20 for this game?
I'd
No.
rather just buy Snakebird.
I'd buy Celeste for 20. It's $20, right?
Yeah, Celeste is 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you have $20 burning a hole in your pocket, you should buy Celeste instead.
If you have $20 burning a hole in your pocket and Celeste, you should like light that $20 on fire. I guess that'll warm you up for a little bit. Both games
Just
are
get a
Wow.
better
on
puzzle game.
Steam and on your phone.
I think if the $20 is burning a hole in your pocket, it's already plenty warm. Got him.
When M is me.
Yeah, so I'm guessing the Switch version is the definitive version with no ads, but it also costs $20.
Why is it
$20. That's
Shouldn't it
crazy.
be
You
like
get like all
five?
the weapons. Because that's the only thing I can think of is they give you all the weapons.
Even then, I
No,
doubt
it's
it.
still not worth it, but they gotta do something.
You, it
You
doesn't.
should
It
get
doesn't
all
say.
the
It doesn't say
content
anything like that.
list.
No. Level up and unlock weapons, so you just still have to unlock them.
Well, I think every level gets a signature weapon. So maybe you get everything but the signature weapons.
Maybe. Yeah. So. Yeah, I have no idea who this game is for. Like,
I have no idea who this Switch
the
person
theming is like runs really deep. Like they really, like there's like some like each world has like a cutscene. Like
Yeah.
like there's voice acting. It's
I wonder if this game
very
There's-
weird. I have no idea. I think it added literally nothing to the game. It wouldn't have changed.
I did not play with audio at all, so
It
Oh, I
it
played
adds
it.
nothing.
Yeah.
It just says like final douche.
And
Yeah.
The people scream.
Yeah, there's a lot of screaming.
By the way, did you guys ever miss the final blow?
Oh, I did that sometimes.
Only the first time because I didn't know what was happening, and I was just tapping the screen.
Most of
Had
the time
to
I hit it.
I had to intentionally miss it just to see what would happen.
I mean, you just don't get the animation and you don't get the extra bloodlust.
Yeah, you don't get the extra bloodlust, and like bloodlust is how you level up, and every time you level up, you get a crate, and inside of a crate is 2 random weapons.
Yeah. And you can alternatively buy crates in the store, obviously.
Yeah.
And there's 150 over 150 levels in the game, so it's a long puzzle game.
So the other thing is, you can't even use this as a time killer at work, because if someone like walks up behind you and sees you like violently murdering people, that's gonna be an awkward conversation. Or like on public transport, you're just gonna get super weird looks.
just don't let
Like,
them see.
what is this game for?
Yeah, the game is definitely unnecessarily violent for a puzzle game. Not gonna like I said, the theming might run so deep that it probably like harms the game.
I guess
How
I'm
do
a
you
bad
can't play
example.
This game in public.
I played this on the CTA, but not.
I mean, you can definitely play this game in public. Also, to be fair, the game does have a PG toggle, which
yeah, there is a
which
PG
the only thing that it does is they don't bleed. You still all the animations are the same though. You still chop people's heads off and stab them with swords and stuff. There's just no blood spatters, except for all the blood that's everywhere in the UI.
Yeah, but that blood's okay.
Yeah, like the theming is definitely over the top, which you know what, it gives the game some charm, so that's fine. Yeah, it's
I guess you can play it in public, but I mean, you might get weird looks, but I don't care. I just did it anyway.
yeah. So less things to take away from this game, at least for me. One, it reaffirmed that I don't like mobile games. I don't like their.
Yeah.
I don't like the format. I don't like playing games on on my phone. Yeah, the whole
I
bit.
didn't get that feeling, but okay.
I mean, you play mobile games though.
Yeah.
Like I do. I this is literally the only game I have installed on my phone.
Oh, ooh.
Wait, what? You don't have a time killing? Like when you're like pooping, what do you?
I usually read things, news or Reddit or.
Check the chat.
I still have nanograms.
Yeah, no, I don't have any things like that.
Huh.
What is
Just
up,
they-
Catlet?
They just don't appeal to me. What up, Catlet? Or sorry, Catelt. Good job pronouncing our fans' names here. So that's all I have to say about Friday the 13th Killer Puzzle. I don't know if anyone
do you
has
guys
any.
want to do a quick rating out of 10?
6.
It's like a 6. Yeah.
4.
5.
What was your
There's
favorite
nothing
gimmick?
like offensive or harmful about this game from a gameplay. It's not like insultingly bad.
Nope.
It's just I don't get the target audience, it's kind of charming in its own weird way.
Yeah, I agree.
But I don't get the target audience. I don't get.
I've now uninstalled it.
I didn't not have fun
Uninstalled
playing
it?
it.
Yep.
Like it was an okay thing to do. I definitely like made myself play it for the podcast, but like
Yeah, for sure. I every time I picked up the game, I was forcing myself.
Yep.
And literally the only times I played it was when if I was in my car with nothing to do, like waiting to pick up someone. Those were actually the only times I played this game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Maybe I'd give it a little higher if it gets hard at the end, but I don't care.
it takes too long to get difficult.
It was boring.
Yeah.
That's my biggest problem with most phone games is they're boring.
Like if you're gonna like especially since I've recently been working through Snakebird, which if you haven't played it is
Yeah, that's a real
it's a
puzzle.
puzzle game on Steam. That game is the difficulty curve is so much steeper.
Well,
Like the early even some of the early game levels are like punishingly difficult. And I can't even imagine what the rest of that game looks like because it's already really hard.
that game has like way more options.
Yeah, for sure. It's
This game you can go in 4 directions.
I mean in Snakebird you can go
Well,
in 4 directions
Not
too,
even
but
4,
it's
you can go in
like
3 usually. Yeah.
yeah.
Snakebird, you can only go in 3 directions.
Yeah. You're right. In Snakebird you can also only go in 3 directions, but it is
Yes, but you can fall, you can hang on platforms. So
yep. No, we did not talk about the patch, because we don't really have enough information to talk
Patch
about it.
came out like 10 minutes ago.
The
Yeah,
ultimate-
we all we know is the vague patch notes and what little information has started to come out. So we'll wait until next week to cover
maybe they
that.
saw the ISIS video and they were like, "Oh no, kill him now."
So, do you guys want to get mosey on down to our Shenmue watch?
Okay.
Yep. So now we'll move on to Shenmue Watch. All we have this week is a YouTube comment for y'all, which I am going to do a dramatic reading of. This is gonna be terrible.
Holy shit.
But here we go. Also, I actually, as a warning to our users, I have no idea if this comment's actually interesting. I only read the first like 3 or 4 sentences. But I'm now going to read the whole thing. So
Make sure you don't swear.
here we go. As a longtime fan of the series, I'd like to say I trust the developers. But everything we hear from Yu Suzuki illustrates his conviction that Shenmue needs a dumbed-down and automatic combat system to coddle the player as much as possible. He even said at one point he wanted players to mash buttons without worrying about which ones, because the important thing is to advance the story. The problem with this idea is that Shenmue is a martial artsy story and a coming-of-age story. Nerfing the combat systems so that even major antagonists become pushovers seriously detracts from the narrative. If you look at Shenmue, you can see this tendency at work in the 2 fights with Dao Niu. In the first guaranteed loss fight, his attacks do the sort of serious damage that you would expect from the cutscenes. In the second fight, he is toned down to the point of being an absolute joke. We wonder why Ryo and Ren were running from him all that time. And this is despite the fact that the game has already forced us to go through a horribly difficult and frustrating sequence of QTEs. Any idea?
QuickTime events for that.
QuickTime events prior to encountering either of these fights. Was it really too much to expect players to dodge around Do Niu carefully and avoid his attacks like they had to do with the Ironhead in Street Fighter? I'm not even going to finish this. So,
Now
that's...
just imagine how disappointing it would be for the fans who have waited 15 years to fight Lan Di if they were able to defeat him by mashing buttons without worrying about which ones. This should worry the developers much more than the thought that some new player who can't be bothered to learn a slightly complex fighting system and who would probably hate the series anyway for being slow and boring might give Shenmue 3 a bad review.
I mean,
And that's been it
the
for
old boy
Shenmue Watch.
mentality.
Thanks for tuning in for Shenmue Watch, guys.
Thanks for tuning in for Shenmue Watch. So, the last topic of the night, our lighthearted news topic, as we like to end the show with, Soulja Boy is selling his own cheap rebranded video game consoles, and they might be illegal. So, this is mind-blowing. I'll go ahead and throw a picture up on stream. The Soulja game handheld.
Sold out.
Oh my.
This is
3,000 plus games.
this is the most.
What games does it have?
GBA, hold on. What?
It
Neo
has
G-
Switch 3D.
Switch 3DS, Vita, Neo Geo, Game Boy Color, Game Boy, and Game Boy Advance handheld games available on this console.
You didn't read the best part. He's selling games called Soulja games.
I don't understand.
Why is he trying so hard to be relevant? It's not
know.
2008 anymore.
Does he not have a team? No one said, what are you doing? Does he not have lawyers? I don't understand.
This is the Soulja Boy handheld. Now, on its features list, it has color display. Yes. Package. Yes.
Its feature is a color display.
I like that the second feature is that it's got a box. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So can tell this. It says on the bottom for Switch. Why does it? There's no way. What Switch games? So this thing clearly is running some kind of emulator. I don't know. It like takes game cartridges too. I'm very, very confused by this thing.
Like a PC, right? Like a modded PC.
I like. Also, it says color is black. This is not black. This is a bright ass
Black.
white console.
A bright pink Sporting.
That's fair game.
Are we just giving up on our sponsorship hopes?
No, ass is fine. So, also age over 3 years old. What?
Wait, we missed the boat on this? This is not new?
No.
That's the suggested age for the player.
Oh, wait.
No, is it? It just says age.
Is that like...
Okay, I'm guessing. Yeah, I guess it's 3 years old and up. I guess it's the only thing I can imagine. But like, okay, so this.
people over 3 years and up.
So.
This-
So
Color black.
okay, here's the thing. So this console is available on Amazon right now by a company called Abernick. No. There's a company called Abernick who already makes this thing. It's $60 from Abernick. If you go to the page, it is identical. It is exactly the same thing. They even use the same exact images that Soulja Boy used on his site.
Can you link it in the Twitch chat?
Yeah, I will go ahead and link it in the Twitch chat, and I am
there's
showing
no
it on
way
stream.
this garbage is protected,
So
what's stopping them from selling it?
yeah, so it comes pre-installed with 3,000 classic games, which apparently maybe includes some Nintendo games, which definitely means this console is illegal. Like,
The Amazon version does not include Switch games. or
it doesn't. It does not mention Switch games, though. I'm not convinced that the Soulja Boy one's capable of playing Switch games either of any type. I don't know how it could. There's not even an emulator for desktops available yet for Switch. That's like.
Well, yeah, why would they release that when they could sell it?
Like what? Unless and this thing is too cheap to be running like an NVIDIA Tegra and like bootleg play this. So it's just a lie. They're just like, hey, the Switch is popular. We can throw that on here. It's got 3,000 games. You'll never. It's too long of a list for you to look at all of them.
Oh lord. This actually
even
can't.
a-
This can't be
Also, it doesn't say built-in. It says build-in 3,000 plus games.
Is there a decent 3DS emulator?
Yeah,
There
yeah.
is?
The 3DS is well emulated at this point.
Okay.
Wait, there's a whole catalog of products. He has his own console. It's literally just a wannabe PS4.
Games, sound, SQ music, picture browse, ebook, and 26 kinds of language.
26 kinds of language.
Whew, boy, this is wow. Why is Soulja Boy rebranding this?
Okay, this is literally a DualShock.
What are you looking at?
Go to the catalog and go to Soulja Game Console. This cannot be real. This has to be satire.
Oh, there's a set-top box console. How about that?
This is a DualShock controller.
No, it has A, B, C, and D buttons on it.
C and D.
A, B, C, and D.
Not in the other picture.
I see ABXY.
Wait, the two pictures they have on their own website are different. They have two. The one that's a diagram of the controller says A, B, C, and D.
This looks like some third-party shit.
That's what all this is.
Oh, okay. Nice.
And why does it come with composite?
Also, they call the USB ports joystick ports. That's like actually like 1990 stuff, right? That's what they call them on like the original Commodore 64 had a joystick
No.
port.
Is that a composite cable?
Yes,
Yeah,
composite.
there's
It
a
says
composite cable.
HD game console.
It also has an HDMI port.
It has an HDMI port too.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
oh.
both HDMI and
AV out.
AV out. Except if you look at the cable it comes with, the cable's backwards, unless like the back of the console has the
Oh.
3 ports, but the cable one end has like the auxiliary style plug, which
Yeah.
no TV on the planet has.
Point is, this is satire. This is not a real website.
It's Soulja Boy tweeted this
Hold up,
out.
This one's not sold out. You should buy it.
Soulja Boy claims that the console is capable of running PlayStation, Neo Geo, PC, Sega, Game Boy Advance, and NES games, as well as Soulja games. So
Soulja games.
So he doesn't claim that it runs Switch, 3DS, or Vita games. But the website does. Soulja Boy actually tweeted this shit out.
He's got a phone too.
Ripping PC Sports.
Oh man. The description of the console that Soulja put out on one of his videos reads, "I'm challenging anyone and everyone who think they can touch me on Gears, Halo 3, or COD 4. Fight me on live and get you some. Don't let the rapping fool you. Prepare to be pwned by Soulja Boy. Tell him."
Is that from the article?
This is in the article.
Yeah, I think that's old.
Yeah.
That's from 2000.
Yeah, that was when he was uploading games. That's where he did the.
Oh yeah,
Brave
you're right.
video.
Oh, that's 2007.
That Brave video is a.
Yep.
Content really wants someone to buy this.
Yeah, apparently he said, like, honestly, I don't have any worries at all, any concerns, because everything we're doing is legit. It's been researched. That's what Soulja said.
It's been reviewed.
There's, if a lawyer told him this is illegal, then that guy should be put in jail.
It's been researched.
Because there's no way he accidentally lied to him. He lied to him.
Oh man, it is almost tempting to suggest that we all throw in $10 and buy one of these and review it on the show.
Content says he'll watch the episode if we do that.
Oh, we have one view. That's gonna get.
If anyone who is watching wants to donate towards our goal of buying one of these, if enough
Start a Kickstarter.
if enough people donate, we will indeed buy one of these. And you know what? If you guys donate half the money, we'll front the rest. We'll match. We might do it anyway. We'll see. Oh man,
Content will throw in
this thing
$5.
has an 800 milliamp hour battery. That is a really small battery. Like my smartphone has a 3700 milliamp hour battery.
So if you notice in the picture for the handheld Soulja Boy game console, one of the screenshots is Pokemon. So it's clearly if this is real, if it could actually run GBA games, then
It says it comes with 3,000 games. I'm tempted to scroll down to the reviews on Amazon since Why not? This is our show now. Can you save game progress? Somebody asks. Yes, you can save game progress.
Well, is that the first? Like, is this like legitimate?
That was in the Q&A section.
Oh.
Okay, so the reviews are mixed. 62% say 5 stars. Those probably aren't bots. Those are probably legitimate reviews.
Yeah.
The first review is titled "Stay Away." 2 stars, mind you, not 1 star.
I didn't give it 2 stars.
Run away, but not too far or too fast. Guys.
Buyer beware. This item looks pretty solid, has a good build quality and button layout, but it freezes and locks up frequently. It's frustrating to try and play a game or watch a video and all of a sudden the console just freezes up and is useless. To make it worse, you have to get a tiny screwdriver and take the battery cover off and pop the battery out to reset the console.
What the
Complete pain to deal with this, and this isn't some like $12 throwaway console. This thing is $60. I think this product is a clone of a clone, and therefore you're getting cheap quality at a not so cheap price. Hold on. So this guy is claiming that this is an overpriced version of a product that already exists, which means the Soulja Boy one is a markup of a markup, possibly. Which, by the way, not an insignificant markup. It's worth pointing out that the Soulja Boy handheld console is $100. And sold out, by the way. The set-top box console is still available for purchase, if you want to.
How is it sold out?
This one doesn't even claim it comes with games. It's just like it's a game console. It doesn't claim it comes with games. It actually doesn't even claim it plays games. If you noticed, it's just Soulja game console. HD game console. It doesn't actually. Oh, no, okay. In one of the images, you have to dig deep to find any information. Pre-installed 800 classic games. The handheld one's got 3,000. Wonder why they couldn't include those 3,000 games on here.
Do you think he got permission from Namco to use Chin?
Yeah, I'm sure they got permission. Yeah, I know. This is straight up. This is legit. This is stupid. This like Chinese company that's probably making these ripoffs is probably now actually going to start facing issues because Soulja Boy started promoting this scam of a product.
What do you mean? It's a scam. It plays over 300 games.
3,000 games. 3,000 games. Which, it doesn't actually have 3,000 games, right? It probably doesn't have even close to that. Or like, oh, it's 3,000 games because each game has 10 languages or something.
They go to different languages. That'll be funny.
There are some game consoles that are like this that exist, like plug-in things that say like, oh, like 10,000 games or whatever, but the list just like repeats after a while. Like just straight up, the list just loops around, and they're just like, yeah, no one will ever notice. No one's gonna count the games. Let's read a 1-star review real quick. Charging cable is cheap and fell apart, and the metal contact started to rust right after the warranty period was done. Worked well for the first 30 days, but that's all the use my son got out of it before this cheaply made thing became garbage.
Not bad.
Better than I thought.
Yeah. The reason I bought this is a 5-star review. The reason I bought this, this is hard to read because it's not English. The reason I bought this is it includes Pokemon games, it works very well, and it have save function outside of the game, kind of cheating, lol. Also, I found out it can play pics and videos, surprise, surprise. That's a legitimate review that a normal human being actually wrote.
So it's illegal. It plays Pokemon games.
Yeah, that isn't illegal.
They might not actually play Pokemon games.
There's like Street Fighter on here.
That is 100% not a real. I'm not convinced that's a real review.
It might not be a real review.
I'm gonna go and say it's not. But it could be just me. But this little console was way too small to be enjoyable. I cannot see any of the text on the screen. I decided to turn it after less than an hour messing with it. I have nothing bad to say about it. Just wasn't able to enjoy it. Yeah, the screen on this is tiny. Like a 3-inch screen. That's smaller than the Game Boy. Or the Game Boy Advance. It's pretty small. That's like the size of the original DS's touchscreen. So have fun with that, I guess. Oh yeah, that 2-star review does have a picture of the thing running Pokemon. So how about that? Also, there is a black version of this console, so I wonder if the Soulja Boy one's secretly black.
Why is the one that they showed white then?
Also, this guy's model, the only button that's labeled is the B button on the front-facing buttons. The rest of them are just blank.
That's good. That's good quality product right there.
This thing is legit, according to this guy.
It's okay. Crank that still slaps.
Apparently, it might be running something equivalent to a Raspberry Pi Zero,
You think Soulja Boy will?
which are literally $5, by the way.
You think Soulja Boy do the crank that in jail after he gets sued by Nintendo and Capcom? And
I think Soulja Boy would do well in jail. But I think that's all we got for this week. I think we actually talked about the Soulja Boy console for just as long as we talked about this week's main topic, but this is a deeper rabbit hole than I expected. This is an incredible product.
This is amazing. We should actually buy this.
Yeah. Also, if anyone knows what the esport a TF card is, there's a TF card slot in the top of this console. No idea what that is.
Just gonna go old trusty Google.
Yeah, let's see what we got.
What's apparently it's a knockoff micro SD.
It's a type of micro SD card.
Interesting. This should have been the main topic.
Oh, okay. No, it's just another name for micro SD card. It's more common. It's the more common name in China for SD cards. It's TF cards.
I wonder why.
I mean, it's probably just because, SD is just isn't it just SanDisk cards? They own the.
I mean, I wonder why they would use the more common name in China.
Oh yeah, because they're clearly a legitimate American company. So that is all we got for you guys today. Go ahead and give us a follow. You can follow us at Jacob Freeman Inc. on Twitch or at Best of 6 Podcast on Twitter. Not really. And yep, and go ahead and give our boys Anbernick a follow. They make the retro game console 16GB 3000. So go ahead and buy one of those because you cannot no longer buy the Soulja Game handheld console. Jesus, what is this? The world has descended into madness. Oh God! All right, it's time to go to bed. Take a shower. Do what y'all gotta do. Have yourselves a good night, and play the outro music. Peace.